Hi everyone, I'm going to be analyzing Blackpink's Lovesick Girls, the meaning behind it, and its choreography. So let's get into it. This song is about finding love but also figuring out who you are without love. And the part that I don't think a lot of people talk about, but I feel as well throughout the song, is this feeling of sisterhood, like kind of how your friends are there for you when you're going through a breakup and you can feel like you're being lonely together. And I think this interpretation fits behind the meaning of Lovesick Girls as well. So the Lovesick Girls choreography is attributed to Kyle Tutin, who has choreographed for many other famous artists before and is obviously very talented, but he said recently that only about 20% of what he choreographs for actually makes it into the final choreography, and a lot of blinks or just toxic fans have been sending him a lot of hate about this choreography in particular because they did not like it. And this is also part of the reason why I really wanted to make this video, because I've seen a lot of comments about how this choreography is too choppy, not cohesive, just looks weird, or doesn't live up to the song, or just doesn't feel exciting or something like that. So I want to talk about why I love this choreography so much. Before the singing even starts, they have this swooning gesture that kind of foreshadows the moves in the chorus. And in the first verse, there's already a contrast between them moving together as a group and moving separately. So they're all holding hands walking towards us, and then Jennie flicks their hands away to convey feeling sick, which matches with the lyrics where she's singing about feeling trapped. And the part where she sings hurts every time. The gesture reminds me of opening your heart up. Like, it can be about falling in love, but it also has the draining aspect of it, of just pouring your heart out to somebody. And the choreography here is already highlighting the mood of confusion, because when Jennie says, "What can we say?" she kind of does this shrug movement. And Lisa does something similar when the lyrics say, "Don't know what's making me hold on." I really like this section of Lisa's part because it has this push and pull feeling, but it's also kind of hesitant. Not only does this look really nice visually, but it also shows that maybe Lisa's character in the song is not sure where the boundary is between her and her lover. So it's kind of like when you want to push someone away, but then you feel lonely, so you pull them closer, but then you kind of feel like you're suffocating when they're so close to you, which matches the lyrics really well. So in the pre-chorus, Lisa is acting as Jisoo's prop, and not only do her hands match the clock movement to show the one moment part in the lyrics, but Jisoo is also trying to search for something, and it matches the looking aimlessly behind Lisa. And not only do I really love this duet because of the interaction between the members, but I also think this might symbolize interdependence in a relationship. Jisoo's character in this song may be relying on the past lover in a toxic way, or maybe she's still trying to figure out who she is without them. And then for Rosie's part, when she's singing over and over, not only does this just look really nice, but it also gives the feeling that all of her past relationships and all these experiences are washing over her. And for the chorus, this is very interesting because these very, very sad lyrics are juxtaposed with very sweet movements of being in love. And as I said, it kind of just gives that lovesick feeling. And it also gives off this heartbreak anthem vibe. But I really like the first post-chorus in terms of the choreography. And my favorite part is when they come together in pairs. Not only because it contrasts with the lyrics, which are born to be alone, but it also goes back to the sisterhood idea I talked about before, where they're sharing their heartbreaks together. And the part where they high-five or clap hands kind of reminds me of kids and young girls when they're playing in the playground together. I also find it quite clever how Jennie's solo choreography is kind of echoed here, and it totally matches because of the meaning behind solo. I also find the looking for love choreography interesting because they cover half of their face, so it's like they're half blind, or maybe it's supposed to symbolize black and white thinking, or maybe they feel incomplete without love. In the third verse, I really love the choreography for the priceless part for Jennie, and it reminds me of her part in How You Like That, where she sings Shine Like the Stars. And in general, there's just a lot of pushing away choreography, which is just supposed to convey like, I don't need you. And I thought it was cool that there's also kind of a suffocating part at the word drug. So the clock hands are back, and so are the looking aimlessly, but this time it's more subtle, and the aimless part is kind of just grasping at nothing. And I really like how simple the choreography is for the part where Jisoo's singing. I really love the symbolism behind the tears movement, and I also like how they're just running backwards, and it's simple, but it effectively creates the sense of urgency that matches the anxiety she's singing about. And for the post-chorus this time, there's just a lot of I don't need anyone gestures that sync to the beat, which is very satisfying. But I think the part where they're singing Born to Be Alone multiple times is worth paying attention to, because in the beginning, they're kind of pushing everything away like they don't need anybody else, but in the last Born to Be Alone, they are kind of hugging themselves, and that conveys a sense of vulnerability, or maybe they're feeling a little bit lonely, and then they sing about how they're still looking for love. And then we get to the bridge, the beautiful, dramatic, theatric bridge that I am so in love with. So there are the childlike movements again, and this time they're running in a circle around Rosé. Last time, in the first post-chorus, you can see how they're like coming together in pairs and clapping their hands and high-fiving each other, and I think this is along the same lines because it reminds me of kids playing games with each other, and it conveys a sense of innocence and a naive state of mind, and it can imply that they're just girls trying to feel okay again, and they're actually feeling very confused and vulnerable just as kids do. But maybe it can also imply that looking for love is blind faith or naive or childish. But the best part about this is that it quickly turns into a sense of ritualism, with Rosie praying in the middle. This shows that love is their religion and drug, and their whole world revolves around it, even though the lyrics are so clearly painful and heartbreaking. Then, Jennie comes up behind Rosie and slits her throat. And this is so dramatic, and I love it. And it matches with the lyrics, love is killing your darling. Which, first of all, how dark. But I think it also implies that a part of Rosie dies every time she breaks up or hurts a lover as well. And then Lisa comes up and does this gesture where it's like something's coming out of Rosie's throat as she's clutching it. And my first thought is that, wow, Jennie just assassinated Rosie and now she's bleeding out. But the more I think about it, the more I feel like there are also multiple interpretations to this. First of all, Rosie's saying about how after the pain of every breakup, she eventually feels repossessed by this need to find love again, or this thrill. So it could simply be that her faith in love as a religion is restored and she's coming back to life as a heartbreak zombie, and she's ready to hunt for a new boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever again. It could also just simply mean that her emotions or her soul is being drained from all the pain of this heartbreak.
Hello, I'm editing Claire here, and I'm mind blown because I just realized that putting the dying part right after the praying part can imply that this may be dying or sacrificing yourself for your religion or your beliefs, so like kind of a martyr moment. Anyway, that was pretty cool. Back to the video.
And then Jisoo kind of fans herself while crying as she sings, I pity you for pitying me. And I interpreted that as she just feels that you should be jealous of her because you don't know what it's like to be addicted to love. I think this movement is really well thought out because it echoes her previous part where she is also crying, but the tears movement are different. And it also conveys this air of sophistication because of the fanning gesture, which you associate with the sense of glamour. So it really feels like she's just telling you that I have this pain, you don't, and you should totally envy me because of it. And the chorus this time, after the very intense bridge, has a tone that's clearly celebratory, where the girls are almost feeling empowered in their heartbreak. And this part where they're blowing kisses just further reinforces the idea that they're addicted to the cycle of giving love over and over again. And they also have a lot of gestures that, again, are associated with the sense of glamour. And then they have this spinning around childlike innocence thing again. But this time it really feels like they're celebrating and that at least they have each other and they're in this heartbreak journey together. Then for the outro, they're going full-on independent woman kind of for a second before the lyrics get to sad again. So all of their gestures feel like they're pushing people away, and even though the lyrics are so sad, you feel like they're so empowering and strong. And then there's an over and over lyric again, which echoes Rosie's part in the beginning, and then they do the chorus move and that's how they end it. So for their ending pose, they're drawing a heart, but you just feel so sad for them because of the lyrics. And throughout my analysis of this choreography, I've also realized that the 4 Lovesick Girls characters in this song are kind of blinding themselves in order to continue their endless dating lifestyle, for lack of a better way to describe it. And even though this song ends on a kind of hopeful note, you can't help but feel for them after they've just poured their hearts out to us about how badly they've been hurt throughout all of their dating experiences. And I think this is definitely the most fleshed out and emotionally nuanced concept that Blackpink has ever done. It mixes innocence with pain, and in the choreography there's a lot of push and pull contrast, which can symbolize that they're negotiating personal boundaries in their heads with their lovers. And there's also a lot of contrast between self-pity and empowerment. This song is very successful in telling the struggle of toxic relationships or the toxic mindset of needing someone's love to feel whole. But Blackpink has somehow also turned this into an empowering heartbreak anthem at the same time, which I think is just brilliant storytelling through the use of choreography, but also lyrics writing. One of the things I love most about this choreography is how much they interact with each other, and not only does this make us appreciate them more as a group, but it also adds more meaning to the Lovesick Girls track, as they're sharing their heartbreaks with each other. And yes, even though this choreo might not be the most exciting or smooth or whatever, I think it helps a lot with telling the story behind the song. And since this is such an emotional song, I think this choreography actually fits it very well. And lastly, I want to talk about how clever it is for Blackpink to release this song, because they've done so many Black concepts about not needing men, being badass and independent, or just killing things in general. But I think this song adds a lot of depth and complexity to the I want to break up with you emotion, because breakups can feel empowering, but they can also be very, very sad. So I think this song is kind of about the other side of love, or the after of a breakup, where someone's left already or you've already left. And this is clearly a very sad and confusing journey, but they made it empowering and entertaining to watch, so props to them. I just want to put it out there that I'm not a singer, dancer, choreographer, or performer, so take what I said with a grain of salt. I'm just someone who loves consuming art and media and overthinking about it. I personally am an aspiring illustrator, so if you like art or just want to hear me talk about whatever I want to talk about or do more analysis videos, maybe consider subscribing, and it would be fun if you could stick around.